All right, we're going to look at solving equations that have fractions in them, which is always a challenge for most students. And so the technique we're going to use is by clearing fractions. So what we're going to go ahead and do is look at the first question here. And what we want to do is the difficulty here is the fraction. So we're going to get rid of it. And so you can get rid of the fraction by using a least common multiple. And that's going to clear the fraction out. So what you do is you look at the denominators. And when you look at them, you look and see what number do they have in common in terms of multiples, and multiples get bigger. So for example, they're all 7. So the LCD in this case is 7. Okay, it is 7. So what I have to do is multiply both sides by 7. Okay, so it's multiplying both sides by 7. So I'm going to multiply a fraction here, so I want to think about it as 7 over 1. Okay, 7 over 1. So what I have to do is distribute. Okay, it has to get distributed. Okay, so I'm going to kind of write this out in more than one step. So it's 7 over 1 times a over 7 plus, now I got to distribute to the second one, 7 over 1 times 5 over 7 equals 2, and we're just going to rewrite this one. Okay, so I can go ahead and multiply across and reduce, but in this case it's easier just to cancel them out. So if I'm multiplying, okay, all those 7's reduce, so I end up with a plus 5 equals 2. Okay, subtract 5 to both sides, and a equals -3. So that one seemed pretty easy. It was nice because the LCD was real simple. They all had a 7, but there's a couple things that come up that make this challenging. So the first thing is here is you notice not all of them have an 8. That's fine, okay? But I'm looking at denominators and I'm asking myself, what is the LCD? In this case, there's only one denominator, so it's 8. So it has to be 8. So same thing here. I got to multiply both sides by 8. Okay. And what throws people off here is you still need to distribute it. Okay. So even though this one doesn't have a fraction, I still need to multiply this 8 to it, and then multiply the 8 over there, and multiply right here. So this one right here turns out to be 48x. And then I'm going to just kind of write this one out here. Okay. Remember, this is the same as putting it over 1. Okay. Times the 5 over the 8 equals 7 over 8 times 8 over the 1. And I kind of just put in those parentheses to show they're different fractions. So it's the same thing here. If I multiply, I can cross out. So the 8's reduced right there, and I'm left with 48 minus 5 equals 7. Okay. I got to continue solving this. So I'll add a 5 to both sides, and I get 48 x equals 12. Divide by 48. Okay. Now, be careful here. People a lot of the time are going to say the answer is 4, because 48 is divisible by 12. But that's not what it says. That says 12 divided by 48. So on a side note here, 12 is the same as 1 times 12, and 48 is the same as 4 times 12. Right? So I can cross those 12's off, and I get positive 1 over 4. And that's my answer, 1 over 4. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at the last example on the back, and this is where people tend to get themselves in trouble. So we want to spend some time on this one. And what it says here is x over 3 minus 1 over 2 equals 3 over 4. The hardest part here is finding the least common multiple. So let me show you what's really going on with least common multiples. Multiples get bigger. Okay, they get bigger. So I'm going to go ahead and list some multiples of 3. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Okay, then I'm going to list some multiples of 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. And I'll do the same for 4, which is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So those are all multiples. Okay, those are multiples of the denominators, right? So those are multiples of 3, multiples of 2, and multiples of 4. Those are my multiples. Okay, and so when I say the least common multiple, I'm trying to find the smallest one that is the same. So if you look at it, like these two have a 6, right? But 4 doesn't have a 6. Okay, so that's out. This one doesn't have a 9, 12. This has got a 12, that's got a 12, and that's got a 12. So that is my LCD. It's the first number they all churn into. That's what you mean by least common multiple. The first one they turn in through multiplication. Okay? Right? 3 times 2, 3 times 3, 3 times 4. Okay, so 12 is the number I'm going to multiply by. So you got to list them out. This is very easy. Most of us can do this in our head, and that's fine. You don't need to show this work. A lot of us could look at these and go and know it's 12, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't expect to see this on a test. But now, okay, so once I find that number, I get 12. Okay, so I do the same thing. Okay, and then I multiply. Okay. So I'm actually going to multiply these ones out. So I'm going to multiply the tops. Right, and then multiply to the top over here and multiply to the bottom. Multiply right here. Multiply the bottoms there. Okay, remember you multiply a fraction, you multiply tops and bottoms. So I multiply top here, bottom here, and then top here, and then bottom here. If I multiplied by the LCD, all of these fractions will reduce evenly. So 12 divided by 3 is 4. 6, and 9. Okay, this will always work if I pick an LCD. Okay, so I add a 6 to both sides to finish this off. All right, I get 15 divided by 4, and a lot of people get discouraged because they get a fraction as an answer, but there's nothing wrong with a fraction as an answer. And the other big thing is there's fractions in the question, so the likelihood of x coming out as a fraction is very high.